88. Time to set it straight, you know what I'm saying? And there ain't no half stepping.
It was at a Friday night dance, and I was out breakdancing. And he said that that was the best floor work he's ever seen. He asked me to be in his breakdancing group, the Floormasters. From then on in, it was history. We were unstoppable. We took over that whole school. I jump up straight in the air, turn around backwards, did a 180, landed on my hands, started doing windmills. And Asher, when I got up, Asher said, "Can you do that again?" That was fresh.
Yes, it was fresh.
And I got up and I did it again. And he said, "You gotta do that this Friday night."
And I started calling him Charlie Fresh after that. I remember that. I'm so glad, Charles, that you brought that up, because when I vividly remember that memory, and I said that was fresh, and then I started calling him Charlie Fresh after that. Yep, after that one move. Yep.
I was Charlie Fresh. I still have my boombox from when I got it when I was 10 years old, and I still have Charlie Fresh painted on the boombox.
Dr. Wave was my name.
Dr. Wave,
yeah.
And it still plays.
Dr. Wave. Yep.
But that's what I look forward to every week, Friday night dancing, putting on my Adidas sweatsuit, my Adidas shoes, and going out there and breakdancing against people. And I remember one time I went up against Andre Fonville,
Yes.
the best breaker in our school.
That's right.
And I went out there, and after I beat him, he come up to me and he said, "Hey, good job, man." He said, you're a good white dude." I started out listening to Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel, but I didn't learn until later on that Grandmaster Flash got his influences from somebody before him in the early 70s. Grandmaster Flowers, DJ Kool Herc. Those were the innovators of scratching, mixing, and corner breakdancing. Abercrombie Bottoms and the Zulu Nation came along. That's what really got breakdancing, I think, into the mainstream, because he was making music that was fit for breakdancing, because you can't breakdance to everything. Then you got Run DMC. Nobody ever heard nothing like these guys before. They innovated a lot of stuff. They innovated the mainstream between hip hop and regular rock music. They brought in Jam Master Jay, who was the baddest DJ ever.
Charles, what did you think about LL?
I believe it was in the movie Crush Groove. He was like a 17, 18-year-old kid, this skinny little kid coming off the streets, but he could rhyme, he could rap, and he was cutting edge. I mean, he told you what it was like, and if you didn't like it, the hell with it. And that's what I think people liked about him, and that's what made him good. I mean, LL Cool J was bad. Beastie Boys, they were innovators themselves because they weren't rapping like everybody else was rapping.
Right.
They were rapping on their own tone.
Right.
They were rapping on their own rhythm. They had some guitars in there.
See, they were rapping and they were giving credit to a lot of guitarists like Jimmy Page. And up until that time, you really didn't have a lot of mention of rock and roll in hip hop music or lyrics. So they were definitely innovators. And I think at that time, people credit Eminem, and I really have a lot of respect for Eminem, but there was white rappers long before Eminem. Eminem came with the endorsement of Dr. Dre. So he was already in the party, and it wasn't too hard to have fun. But like Charles was saying, Beastie Boys, they had to break the door down just to get in the party because they weren't accepted.
They were distrusted from the get-go.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I think everybody had to accept, that, yes, this is hip hop culture. And even though it's predominantly African American or Latino, you got these white kids from Manhattan, and are selling more albums. So yeah, they are definitely pioneers in their own right.
I mean, Beastie Boys did have a little bit. They had Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin, yes.
But it was no Dr. He was no Dr. Dre.
There was no Dr. Dre.
He was no Dre back in the day.
Rick Rubin is a brilliant music producer. He was there in the beginning. He was really one of the co-founders of Def Jam, along with Russell Simmons at that time. When me and Charles were graduating, a new thing started emerging, gangster rap.
I don't get the whole hip-hop scene, the gangster rap of nowadays, because back then, when we had a beef with a crew or something like that, we battled by breakdancing.
There was gangster rappers, Ice-T, Schoolie D, long before NWA. They were wise enough to get on MTV. The song that they had was a very commercial song. Charles, you probably remember Express Yourself. Yep. Almost like a pop song, like Britney Spears or something. And they got the airplay over and over on MTV. That's what caused NWA to be so popular for kids in Idaho or Omaha, Nebraska, Kansas, wherever. Whereas the original gangster rappers never got the distribution and never got the marketing that these guys had. These guys were not just dancers, they weren't soft. These guys were hardcore gangsters in Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, wherever. Drug dealers, I mean, these guys would shoot you in a minute and wouldn't even think about it. So it was nothing soft ever about breakdancing, but we chose to settle our beefs on the dance floor. That's really the difference between this generation and where this thing came from.
Back in the late 70s and early 80s, there was no airplay on MTV.
Yes, sir.
These guys weren't getting played on the radio, and if they were lucky enough to get it on the air, it was underground radio.
But really raw, pure, authentic hip hop was never played in Sussex County at that time, you know?
That's the music that I would practice breakdancing to. I would practice breakdancing on that.
Hit play and record at the same time, and that's where we would get our music to practice our moves. Me and Charles both loved the movie Beat Street, Breakin' and some of the others. New York City Breakers and a Rocksteady crew up there, and we would see them in movies like Beat Street, and yeah, we would try to emulate them. I mean, I remember going to Charles' house, having dinner, and then after dinner, getting the cardboard out. He used to have that box, and we would put that out in the yard, and we would go at it. We were fascinated as children of hip hop and rap culture. We really were, because growing up here in Sussex County, we didn't have a lot of urban stuff here. Yo MTV Raps did a lot for hip hop and rap culture. When we went to those dances, you know, me, Paris, Charles, and we put on our Adidas suits, we felt like we were on DMC, or we felt like a celebrity, because a circle would be made, two crews would go at it, we would be on one side, the other crew would be on the other, and we would battle. And for a moment in time, the whole school was looking at us. The music made you feel good. From the first rap song I've ever heard to even now, when my son listens to Nicki Minaj, it feels good. The music actually feels good. And we didn't really want to be mainstream. We wanted to be somewhat rebels or savages.
Right.
And the fact that your parents didn't really like it, or elders and teachers that wanted us to even make it listen to it even more, because we didn't want to listen to what our parents liked.
I've said from the beginning that this music is drug-driven, greed-driven, and violence-driven.
Rap music,
gangster rap songs that debase women,
promotion of drugs and violence,
violent, pornographic.
Consider a song like Slap a Hoe, which you mentioned, by the group Dove Shack.
pick it, pack it, fire it up. Come along, take a hit from the bomb.
They would throw a word like beer, ear, deer. You know, I would just
And you would just start going with
go
it.
with that.
Everybody used to freestyle back then.
Today, rap is so scripted and so manufactured. It's a product. They write it down, they memorize it, they spit it out, and that's it. But if I gave them a word out of nowhere, like glass, they would not have the lyrical skills to do anything with it, you know? Sure, I can make anybody a rapper if they want to memorize over and over again. But
Right.
can you really flow or improvise, like you said, on the spot? And I think that's a lost art, because if you look at back in the 80s, these rap battles, one of the beauty of those things, you couldn't come prepared because you had to
You never
improvise.
knew what was going to happen.
Exactly,
The greatest freestyle artist ever. I think Eric B. and Rakim,
no doubt.
Kumo D,
That's definitely up there.
Curtis Blow,
Yes, absolutely.
and Boogie Down Productions.
KRS-One.
KRS-One, yeah.
If you look at those groups, KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions, and some of the other great freestylers at that time, they weren't about the commercial side of it. I mean, they really loved this thing.
They were about the experience.
That's it. That's it. If they made a few dollars, great. But now it's almost like you put together a business plan. It's not pure anymore. Back then it was pure because people didn't care about the money. But the end product was much better because you loved it.
Right.
Once you got the commercial side of it, yeah, you made money, but the product came out very unpure. I think of it as adolescence. It's still growing. You know, and in an adolescent stage where rap is right now, you're going to have people that are rebellious. And I think that's really the sad part. This thing grew into something that was violent, something that was more criminal-like, and it really shouldn't have.
I was going to say rest in peace, MCA.
That's right.
Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys, yep.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of fallen rappers and hip-hop artists, Jam Master Jay, of course Biggie Smalls, Tupac, and everybody that's really, are veterans of this game and, have paved the way, and now they're gone. 30 years ago, approximately 30 years ago, a lot of my teachers thought, just like breakdancing, Charles, hip-hop and rap wouldn't be around. Yeah. Now, worldwide, you go to Japan or Pakistan or wherever, hip-hop culture is alive and well.
This thing started back in 1977 on a street corner with some guy rapping, freestyling, and some guy on a piece of cardboard breakdancing.
That's right. You mentioned Kool Herc. I mean, a guy in an apartment building scratching for the first time, making this sound that people fell in love with because they never heard of it.
I can imagine what the innovation is going to be like in 10 more years.
That's right. Names like Run DMC, LL Cool J, African Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, they stand the test of time. Decades later, you still mention them.
With the Floormasters, we just wanted to dance, listen to good music, try to beat some people on Friday nights.
That's it. And have fun doing it.
Thank you, Asher Gulab. This was amazing. Floormasters, Charles Harris and Paris Mathis. Yeah, I was selling beats in class, teachers mad cause I had guala. I always knew how to make dollars. I could sell a bottle to a toddler, my mama to a pedo, a comma to a zero, an island to a ski slope. Fuck it, I think you get the ammo. I read the petals, off of the flower, watch the bloom, it made me mellow. Cause life got better, I need Berettas. These niggas plowing, want my cheddar, they can get wetter. Don't fuck with no one, I can't settle. I'm thinking about my pastimes with my kinfolk. Back then I used to rhyme, I was making demos. Like here, take it and share it, play it with your fellows. Yeah. Now put your hands in the air if you don't really care. You just wanna dance if you wanna let your hair down. Don't listen to parents, they'll never understand us. Get the money, share it, and pull off in the carriage. Now put your hands in the air if you don't really care. You just wanna dance if you wanna let your hair down. Don't listen to parents, they'll never understand us. Get the money, share it, and pull off in the carriage. Okay, fast forward, I wrote the backboard and took the money as a motherfucker FAFSA. Cause fuck the college shit, I got some knowledge, bitch, I won't acknowledge it. Don't need a scholarship, I'll do it on my own. Moved out of my home, I slept on the floors until I got on. That's when Asher Gulab called me my mama, couldn't be prouder. I really got me some powers, made lemonade with a sour. Now I'll be up in the towers, I set the money in powers, put the rest